Welcome back to Author Talk with SJC. All right. Neil McCarthy, how are
Cool.
you?
Good, Jess. How are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I'm so excited to talk to you today. You're one of the few authors that I've met in person that I've been able to interview on here, so I'm excited.
Oh, cool. Nice. Looking forward to it as well.
Me too. So I have your book right here. If it can, I know on Zoom it's hard to see. Can you see it?
Yep. Yep.
All right. And I'll put it up in the middle of us too. So let's see that way. That way. There it is. Should be right here. So yeah,
I have it as well.
there we go. And see, you don't have the silly background, so you can actually show it to us. So, an inspiring recovery, how I found sanity. Talk to me about that. Let's just chat.
Sure. It's an ongoing process. Sometimes I feel like I found it, and other times it feels like I'm losing it as well. So, although I have found it more than I've lost it,
Hmm.
it's still just like an ongoing process that I keep searching and keep going, and it's a chronic health condition, so I just have to keep on top of it and keep meeting with my doctors and all that, and my appointments, and just keeping healthy, and uh, my recovery process. Other people have told me it was inspiring, that I inspire them, and I have come a really long way from where I was when I was in my early 20s or late teens, and it's been 30 years now, and I feel like I've arrived at a pretty good place health wise.
That's awesome. I know it's been quite the journey.
Yeah.
I know this, when I picked up your book, when we met at the author event last November, I think it was November, um, I heard you and I heard Tyler was there too with his stories of mental health. And I had just been to a mental health first aid class like that,
Oh,
like a few months before, I think. And so it was just really interesting to come and hear your story and hear you say, I'm in a good place. I know you mentioned even your dental health was good at that point, and I knew how important that was too. And I
well,
was like,
yeah.
that's
The reason I mentioned that is because the medications can cause dry mouth. And there was a time in my life where I actually had like a lot of cavities and I needed like a lot of dental work, and so it was sort of like a really nice change that happened along the way. I kind of figured out how to take care of myself,
yeah,
and a lot of this book is about things like that, just learning how to take care of myself and be responsible for my own health and my own life, and living more autonomously with less care from others. And so yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. The teeth thing does seem a little bit funny, but it's also like a real thing for people who take these medications, because they can cause a lot of tooth problems.
oh yeah. When I heard you say that, I was like, I know that's impressive. Like to be able to be at that point, because when you're in that place of needing to calm your own mind, I can't imagine teeth come to mind at that moment. But then like later, when you've gotten to the point that you have the right medication and the right therapy combination to be able to say, okay, I'm going to take care of my teeth. Like, I feel like that's so,
Yeah.
I know that was a milestone.
Yeah, my mom was a nurse, and she always said, "You gotta get to the like." When I moved out of the house, you gotta get to the dentist, and I never did. And my ex father in law was a dentist, so I went to see him a lot. And then when I moved here to Central Connecticut, I did see another dentist, and she's like, "You have like a lot of decaying teeth in here," and I
Mhm.
actually had to get a lot of fillings, but finally came through it, so that was good.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I picked up your book that day, to start reading it, I wasn't sure what to expect because I've been through different times in my life when I've had um, people that I've talked to that have told me a little bit of their stories with mental health. And so there's just so many different angles. And I didn't know what angle you would take when you started
Right.
telling your story. And I love that it was an immediate hook. Like the way you started the story, it was very engaging. Like not just that your story is engaging anyway, but the way you wrote it and the way you presented it really connected with me and made me go, "Oh, I want to read some more of this."
Thanks. Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
like.
one of the unusual things about a memoir like this is that I use a lot of dialogue, which I don't know that a lot of memoirs do it like that. This sort of puts it maybe more like in the creative nonfiction category, but it's also like my life story, like told through scene. So I use a lot of scenes and a lot of personal interactions, and scenes where I meet with therapists or doctors and retelling things from the past. So there's like a little bit of a flashback scene going on as well in different parts. So I tried to piece it all together with to make it interesting. So it's not just like a retelling; it's actually a story as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've gotten from it. I am currently on I'm almost like right in the middle. I'm on page 79 and it is oh wait, there's an epilogue. Hold on. There is 196 pages, so I'm almost halfway and I didn't do math there, so if I'm not almost halfway, don't judge me. But I yeah, I'm really enjoying it and I paused to do my fiction thing because that's
Yeah,
just what I do.
yeah.
But I picked it up again last night, and I actually last night this shouldn't be much of a spoiler. You mentioned in chapter 13 you were talking about how when you had started the blog, the Daily Infuriator.
Oh yeah,
I love the title of that, by the way. And you said you lost interest in it after a couple of months. You sometimes chalk it up to ADD, but at the heart, you felt like your lack of confidence is what kept you from continuing or finishing projects.
yeah,
And that really hit me. I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that's a good
yeah. There's
good
yeah, that
self-reflection there."
happens. There's a sort of reluctance of putting myself out there, and this is very deeply personal writing, and although I really enjoyed writing it, and I want people to get something out of it, it's also very anxiety inducing to share it with people on such a personal level. I just got an email from a person I gave the book to this morning. I got the email this morning. I gave the book to him a couple of weeks ago, and it's hard because I want it to connect with people, but I also like don't want to talk about this with strangers. So it cuts both ways.
I know, I'm sure that's tricky, but I am so grateful that you have that vulnerability and that willingness to share because I know so many people exactly to your point, don't want to share and don't want to talk about it. But when they have the safety of sitting in their room reading your book, making that connection with you, even if they never tell you about it, they have that time to know that they're not alone. And that's priceless.
And these are really, really important topics because mental illness affects so many people, and and even though it affects so many people, it's still like a pretty major taboo to talk about, especially like when we get into trauma related issues. But it's still something that is not like really out in the open. I mean, I couldn't go into the workplace and say, "Hey, want to talk about my mental health and all that." I actually did post about it on LinkedIn, and then I felt like that was just really the wrong venue for it, and I actually took the post down because people I worked with were asking me about it. I didn't feel comfortable about it because they didn't know them very well, and it just wasn't the right setting for me. So I'm trying to find other outlets for it now. So I want it to connect to people, but I also am very guarded about it. Like I don't. It's hard.
Right. I remember I shared it with someone and I told you that they felt like you were talking about their story, and you were like, that's
Yeah.
great. That's not great. But I'm glad that it connected with them because it's hard to like be like, yay, they experienced the same. No, that's not good. But
Hmm.
yeah, I know it's tricky I'm sure it's tricky to even market. Like you said, you don't necessarily want to broadcast it to your workplace, but at the same time, so many people deal with this stuff, even if they don't
Yeah.
admit it to themselves or to each other.
Yeah, and hopefully, people will write it and they'll feel inspired to like go out and get help for themselves. There is a lot of great helpers out there. We just have to look for them. Um, I think the mental health care system is maybe a little bit overwhelmed actually at this point. And I know medical mental health insurance can be hard to come by. I think that's one of the reasons I put a lot of care into the book to talk about taking care of yourself, self care, those types of things, because it can be hard to find the basic care, like getting health insurance and getting finding doctors, and good counselors. There's only so many out there, and people struggling with these things don't always have access to those kinds of features. So I felt like it was important to include a lot about things I could do to take care of myself. So because it's hard to find access to good meds and good treatment as well.
Right. Can you talk any about some of those thoughts that you put into the book?
So yeah, I just think that I do in a day to keep myself healthy. So I exercise just about every day, uh, meditate every day, and that keeps me healthy and balanced. Eat a healthy meal, healthy vegetarian diet at regular intervals. Make sure I get the right sleep. So I try to go to bed and get up at the same time every morning. So there's like a lot of diligence I have to put into my life that other people probably don't have to put in, but really anyone could benefit from these methods. So I feel like having those basics in play can really benefit people who have these issues, even if they can't get to a professional. And even for some people, they don't respond well to the medications either. So I
Right.
think people need other means to address this. And another way I'm finding lately is journaling. So I've been doing a lot of journaling, and that some therapists will actually say that journaling is even more effective than counseling. So I feel like that was a good find as well.
Wow, that's good to know for sure. Hmm. It makes me think about my own things, and I
Yeah,
just started talking to a dietitian just because I know I eat crap, and I'm like, how can I make this a little bit better, make my health a little better, feel a little more energetic, and um one thing we talked about was, well, how's your sleep? And I was like, I mean, I like to watch TV, so I stay up
yeah,
and then I have to get up early. It's like I don't have any kind of
yeah,
schedule with my sleep, and I know
yeah,
that would help me so much.
yeah. Yeah, one of my favorite therapists used the word sleep hygiene to me once, and I was like totally thrown by that. I was like, "What does that mean?" And then the more I thought about it, I was like, "Yeah, I kind of get what she's saying about that now." And I do try to take like an hour at night to turn the screens off to read a book or do some writing or stuff like that. Take a hot shower or whatever, and try to wind down into going to bed, and that helps me fall asleep. But also in some ways, it helps me stay asleep. So I
Oh,
noticed that like if I'm doing too much stimulating stuff at night, I might actually wake up in the middle of the night strangely and have trouble getting back to sleep. So it seems to help sleep in many different ways.
interesting. Yeah, I could see that. I know if I watch a highly active TV show before I go to bed, you never know what dreams
Yeah.
or nightmares might happen.
Yeah, well my daughter's watching a TV show called Digital Circus. I don't think I'm going to be watching that right before bed because that sounds like a lot of stimulation to be going on.
Yeah, just the title of it sounds like a
I
lot.
know.
Funny. Oh, wow. So what do you do? So from, do you think that like writing your book helped you heal in a way? Based
Yeah, it
helped
was
you heal?
very a great release. It was very therapeutic in a way to get all that on out and just to put it out there. And I felt like it was helpful to me to work through my difficulties and watch sort of like put words to paper and in the process like watch my life unfold or watch my past life unfold and come to realizations and say, wow, I never really looked at it that way. And then in writing it, I started to realize, oh, there's more here than I had even realized at the time. So things sort of like new things kept popping up that I hadn't been aware of that I hadn't looked at before as I wrote
Wow, yeah. It's amazing what journaling will do because like you start writing and you think you know what you're going to write and then it just
it.
something else entirely happens. You're like, "Oh, wait, I didn't know I was feeling that."
Yeah. Yeah, I know when I journal, it's like I'll get to the end of whatever I'm writing, and then I'll go back and read it, and then I'll read the whole thing, and then I notice that I've sort of like made progress in my writing. It's like, oh, I was feeling this way when I started writing, but at the end, like I sort of like came to this realization or conclusion, or my feelings just kind of changed in a certain way as I wrote this, and it was therapeutic to go through that process. And even as I journal and write today, it still happens that way.
Oh, I went to a book fair yesterday and
Oh, cool.
they had, yeah, it was really neat. It was over at Sunny's place, which I didn't know is like a little amusement park almost. They
Okay.
have all kinds of fun stuff there. My partner and I were like, how do we not know this existed? But anyway, there were a lot of different authors there with very different genres and
Mhm.
personalities and everything, of course. And it was just interesting to walk through. And I mean, the human experience is so broad, and yet also we align on so many things that we don't realize sometimes, like the sleep hygiene, like we all need that, not just if you're
Yeah.
struggling with your mental health.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to do that.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So what else did you want to talk about?
Yeah, no, so I want to talk about the book a little bit. So you have 27 chapters with an epilogue,
Mhm.
and like I said, I'm in 13 right now. Yeah, almost halfway. See, I was right.
Yeah, there you go. Some of the chapters are longer than others, but yeah, you're right in the middle there.
Yeah, I love, I mean, the very beginning. Do you mind if I read a
Yeah,
line?
go ahead.
Okay. I so when I opened the book, I was like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if it's gonna be. I'm really bad at reading like biography kind of books and a nonfiction.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, okay, chapter one, the big one. Spies were following me. They wanted my ideas. With wide, unblinking eyes, I peeked through the curtains of the Pittsburgh fraternity house, my third floor room, oddly comfortable despite the summer's late morning rays. A student walked down the access road behind the building, one of the spies, no doubt. I needed to act fast before they could read my mind. I know that that kind of thought process is not throughout the whole book, but just starting that way,
Yeah,
it's definitely intriguing. And it's like, wait, is what's going on? Let me get into this and see what's happening. And
right.
I think you just chose a really good, starting point for someone who's not a biography or memoir reader usually
Yeah.
to bring them in. And I know you said that obviously there were a lot of memories that you had to add in
Mhm.
little things here and there to fill them in, but to me that's understandable. It's like I don't care if you exactly said those words. I
Yeah.
get the idea and I see your
Yeah.
flow and I see your story.
Yeah, it's funny. Having what I have with the medications and the mental health stuff on top of it, my memory isn't always so great. There was after I put the book out, I got a call from an old my dog. I just adopted him yesterday. It's Zeus. I
Oh,
uh, I got a call from an old college friend of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, I went and did that with you. I met you. I used to live in Boston." He's like, I met you in Boston, and we went to that Museum of Fine Arts." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was you." And I had totally written the scene with like a different person, and I had forgotten completely that he came to visit me. I was like, "Oh, that was a little embarrassing," but he was totally cool with it. He's like, "Yeah, this is fine. Like, I really love the book, and even though I might get some of the details a little hazy, people don't seem offended by it because they get the message of the story, and they get, like you said, the gist of it, and they understand where I'm coming from. And there's, I don't really call anyone to task in the book, so
hmm.
you know, people aren't put off by it, I don't think.
Yeah, I think you did it everything very tastefully and very well, just to give the story and to be real about your situation, your mental health, your relationships. There's so much in there that I feel is so relatable, and I'm grateful that it's in the world.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Um, let's see. I think I had. So tell me a little more. So we've talked about the book a little bit. Tell me a little more about yourself. I know on your author, about me, you were born in Rhode Island,
Yes.
right?
Yes, born in
It's
Rhode
lucky.
Island. I live in Connecticut now. Just got a dog yesterday, so we're working on training him. Um, I have a 12-year-old daughter. She's in middle school, so she's in the seventh grade. Hey, set. We're working on that. We're working on the basic commands. It's going to be a process with this dog, I can tell.
Oh, for sure.
Um, so yeah, I live in Connecticut with my daughter and now our new dog, and got a couple friends. I've been trying to get back out into being more into music. Um, Off, bud. Off. It's okay. Good boy. And right now, I just had a new doctor, so I'm switching medical providers, and already I'm feeling a lot better because for a couple years, my doctor was like very complimentary of me. She said I was an A+ patient because I followed all the orders, but also like I was sort of in like a medicated stupor, and I was sleeping a lot, and I wasn't getting into my writing or my music at all. And that I finally figured out like, oh, this all started when I went on all that medication. And
Oh,
so, and that went on for a while. And finally I said, well, I need to find like a new doctor who's going to help me with this. And I met with him on Friday. He tapered some things down. That was 2 days ago, by the way, for Friday. It's Sunday today. He tapered a couple of things down, and actually today I woke up early and I was just writing again, and got out for a long walk with the dog, and I was just feel like I'm living my life a little bit more just today. As luck would have it, now we're doing this right here, so I feel like things are maybe just improving even more.
what great timing for our video today. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
know. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny how that falls together sometimes.
Hmm. And you're playing, don't you play the saxophone? Isn't that what it was?
I haven't in a while, but I'm thinking about picking it back up again. My daughter just had her spring band concert, so I went to that, and that was got me thinking about like, boy, I really need to get back into doing that. I need to like be awake. Like I can't be sleeping 11 hours a night, so I need to like get that sorted out first. And I think now that I'm going to have more time and more mental energy and creativity, I'm hopeful that I can get back into that and maybe at least start playing some open mics again, meeting some musicians, trying to get back out socially to meet more people because I've sort of been like a recluse for a little while. And the music friends are like always that's like always my home with when it comes to being sociable. Like I feel at home with the music crowd, and I haven't been having that as much lately because I haven't been able to stay out late, which is when all the music happens, all the good music.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. Yeah, if you ever need a vocalist, call me
Okay.
up.
Okay, cool. Definitely.
Yeah, I've been needing some karaoke outlet or something lately. I love to sing. I sang in choirs and all the fun stuff growing up. And when I went on a road trip a couple of years ago, and it was honestly the first time I'd ever really done karaoke anywhere other than just my house. And
Mhm.
I ended up going several places, and it's just like you said, it's such an amazing outlet and such a communal, like there's just
Yeah.
people you connect with in the music scene that you just don't meet anywhere else.
Yeah, there was a guy I used to play with many years ago. I want to say it was more than 10 years ago. He just texted me out of the blue. I didn't even know he had my number. And every weekend we have like a whole bunch of texts, and we talk about music and vinyl. Like he likes sending me pictures of like all the records that he has, and we talk about all we get into some like really weird like 1960s and 70s like psychedelic music that we talk about, and we just yeah, it's been really nice. We every Saturday like we connect and we just shoot shoot the talk about music, and I look at all his albums and I send him videos and we talk about the bands that we're into. And this dog is going to be quite the chore, aren't you, buddy? You're really going to need a lot of attention, aren't you? Oh my goodness, these rescues, right?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So yeah, we get together and we talk, and there's like an instant connection with people like that I can't find with others. It's uh, the music crowd is definitely a crowd unto itself, and the creative types of people like I feel really at home with. Um, actually even more so than writers, I would say. I find writing to be like a very solitary practice, and it's hard for me to connect in that way with other writers because this is something I do on my own, and I've that's one of the reasons I've had trouble marketing this book because I have trouble like connecting with people in that way. But in the music crowd, I feel at home.
Well, maybe you bring your book to the music crowd.
Yeah, yes, that's a good idea.
Maybe so. All right. Well, tell me your dog's name again.
Zeus.
Zeus. That's right. Powerful name.
Yeah,
All right, Zeus, we're gonna let you go and have your papa back.
yeah,
But Neil, it's so good to talk to you,
yeah,
and
yeah. Good to
we
talk
got
to
to
you.
get coffee again soon.
Definitely. By the way, I love your pronouns. He, she, her, hey, you. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. She, her, hey, you. We got to add some attitude in there, sometimes.
Definitely. Got to have some fun with it for sure.
Absolutely, and I appreciate we've talked about that, and I appreciate your um, just love and acceptance of everything in that realm as well. So I appreciate.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. No question about that.
I love it. All right. Well, I will let. Oh, I guess there is it he or she, doggy?
He.
He.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking out the window now. I guess Zeus, that makes sense. It's a he. But, but speaking of pronouns, right? Um,
Yes.
he's enjoying the window now. But yeah, it's so good to talk to you, and
Yeah, Jess. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to finishing your book. And thank you
Okay.
so
Yeah.
much for putting yourself out there and being brave and willing to talk about,
Yeah.
what's happened in your life. I feel like this can help so many other people, and
Yeah,
um,
that's what it's for
yeah,
now. I'm not going to make any money off this, but
I
at
understand.
least I can help some people.
I love it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, Neil. We'll talk soon.
Yes.
Have a great day.
All right. You too.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.